young man now who is involved in an organisation that evolved again as a result of the Fukushima disaster, really to raise awareness again about the plight of the children there and to underline the fact that this is an ongoing situation, and it's going to affect not just the children now, but the children for many generations to come, if we think the contamination is as serious as we suspect. So there's a young man called Takahonda, who is part of, and I get the right wording for this, World Network for Saving Children from Radiation. He's also a lead guitar player, and he did a fantastic job at our rally on Saturday. So
Thank you. My name is Taka Honda. Can you hear me okay? Back, okay? Should I stand up? Yeah? Okay. I'm from an indigenous group called Fukushima Network for Saving Children from Radiation, who's a group of parents in Fukushima who try and protect them from the threat of radiation. And I also founded my own organization called World Network, which is kind of international arm of that. And obviously, numbers of people help us by now, and so in summer 2011, I went down to Fukushima. I was 19, and I worked there for 3 weeks, and so since then I've been following the situation, the disaster at Fukushima. And if I look at the condition there, the situation hasn't really changed yet. I could say nothing has really changed since the beginning, and 310,000 people still out of homes, and 300,000 children still stuck in the high radiation areas. And by now, 43% of children having abnormalities in the thyroid glands, which the recent examination found out. There's another result saying that 3 children are diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and 7 children are highly suspected, and they're most likely to have thyroid cancer as well, which is at the higher rate than the cases in Chernobyl. And speaking of the policies that the Japanese government is taking, instead of evacuating those children, they're putting money on the decontamination as a part of their restructuring policies, and they're actually cutting the housing benefit for the refugees who evacuated from Fukushima outside of the contaminated area, in order to bring them back into Fukushima. And what's staggering is that the fact that the Fukushima local government said that they were going to subsidize the schools that use local products in the school meals. So this kind of highlights the fact that the governments are not treating the children as just member of the community, but also just using them to put forward their reconstruction policies, the reconstruction campaigns, we call it. So that's Japan, basically, my country. So when I went down to Fukushima, and I spoke to numbers of the mothers and fathers living there, and continue to live still. And people, when people ask me what it's like to be living in Fukushima, what it's like to be living in such contaminated areas, and I always maintain that it's like serious choice. And if you live in the contaminated land, then you face numbers and numbers of choice in a day. For example, should I open the window during the day or not? Or should I hang my clothes outside or inside, or should I go out or not, and should I wear mask when I go out, or should I make a lunch box for my children, or should I get them eat the school meals, or should I let them play outside in PE class, or can they swim in the pool in Fukushima? So if you face those kind of like numbers along the series, then you're like, well, I have no idea. So I never thought about those kind of things in my life. And these kind of things are something that the government need to direct people. But what they say is, you have to make decisions, and that's your choice that you don't get back into. So all the responsibilities are left to the local people in the community, the parents particularly, and if you see the reality, the information that held by each individual are obviously different, and so maybe I know more about radiation than some other people, but it's always different. It's all relative. Then the fact is that it's always the mothers who concern more about the health of the children, and it's always younger people than the older. So that and then it's always like females that have more concern than the male. So it's always mothers who care about the health of children. So then when it comes to the vacation, then if your husband says, I think it's alright, then it's fine, live here, then you have another choice, whether you should argue with him or not. And obviously you can't really argue with like everyone in your community. And you can't really convince like every one of your families to move your children outside of the contaminated areas. And by the end of the day, then you get knackered and you get confused. And then what should I do? So that's what it's like to be living in Fukushima. And I just want to finish off by highlighting the reactions by the international institutions. But before that, I just want to identify who is actually responsible for this disaster. Tokyo Electric Power Company, we call it TEPCO in short, who built all the nuclear power stations across the country over half century, and also the Japanese government who subsidized the electric companies and all the other constructions subcontracted companies. But these guys are guilty for this disaster. So, in order to solve this problem, and our thoughts of actions need to be based on the assumption that these criminals wouldn't take the responsibility. And as Kate Hudson said earlier, that this needs to be solved in the global level. And then I just want to reinforce this by highlighting the conspiracy between WHO and IAEA. WHO, the World Health Organization, made an agreement in 1959 with International Atomic Energy Agency, which we call IAEA in short. And WHO obviously in charge of our health and the well-being of all the people in the world. And on the other hand, IAEA is supposed to regulate and promote the nuclear industry. And since they made the agreement, IAEA has held on to the decisions that made by the WHO. So since then, the WHO can't publish any reports that are independent from the interests of the IAEA. And this system is completely mad. And if an institution that's in charge of the health of people are working with another institution that's supporting the corporate profit or anything, and then obviously that's not going to work. And so WHO, since they made an agreement with IAEA, they've been publishing the reports that underestimates all the nuclear crisis all over the world, not only in Chernobyl, but Iraq and Jordan, numbers of other countries. And there's another crisis going on in Fukushima. And actually this is war down in Fukushima. And so what can all the responsible adults can do? And this is what I want to know. And thank you very much.
Thank you.